Hello and welcome, beautiful, amazing sister, to this episode of the Dancing with the Goddess show. I'm your host, Priestess Tora-Iresh'nai Moon. I invite and welcome you to this sacred space where we can connect heart and soul with each other and with the Goddess to discover our authentic truth. Join me in exploring Goddess spirituality to awaken the divine within and remember who we really are. Each week, join me and my sister priestesses as we explore Goddess spirituality, living in thrival, and living a sacred life fully aligned with our passionate purpose. Here you'll find insights, sacred practices, and Goddess lore. Now on with the show. This week is sponsored by me, and I'm sharing with you about my Goddess spiritual guidance and messages service. My sister, you may have a question that's just racing around your mind and just you need some answers and you need some support. The Goddess hears you, hears your prayers, and has given me and graced me with the gift of connecting with her and channeling messages for her. And she has a message for you that will guide you in taking your next step. Transform your situation and be at ease with your life. And I would be honored to share that message with you in one of these mini coaching sessions. Yes, I do use some tarot and oracle cards to focus the conversation, because this is a conversation, and to focus what you need to hear, and to focus the message that's coming through. But my sister, these are not your normal tarot card readings. This is a mini coaching and guidance session that will help you resolve what you need or point you in the direction you need to go. I invite you to book a session with me today. Thank you, and I would be very honored to serve thee in this capacity. So if you joined me last week, we were talking about the Goddess Saraswati, and all this month of January we'll be talking about Saraswati. And last month I gave you a little bit about her lore and where she comes from. This week we're going to talk about her quality of creativity. One of my favorites. I have a lot of favorites. In the Hindu creation myth, Brahma was creating the world, but that was all just chaos, and nothing was in order, and nothing was happening. It was just these chaotic thoughts. And on his breath came pure knowledge, and her name was Saraswati. And together Brahma and Saraswati created the universe in this world. And with Saraswati's knowledge, she created order. Part of Saraswati's gift to humanity was creativity, of music, of art, of dance. In whatever way you can conceive of creativity, it is a gift of Saraswati. Now, most often we consider creativity and being creative as if we're an artist, a visual artist, or if we're a musician. But her gift is so much more. It is any creative work. I firmly believe our creativity is an expression of our soul. It's one of the ways that our soul expresses itself and shows up in the world, beyond what our ego minds are. And as such, our creativity is not and should not be logical. It should be fun. And it should bring us joy and pleasure. And we can't compare our creativity if we were just starting drawing and just doing it for fun and just because it's a way that our soul wants to express itself. We can't compare our finished product with Van Gogh or Michelangelo or any of the great masters of art or somebody that's selling the art. Because we've just started. We're doing it for fun. If you looked at some of their first attempts, it would be just as bad and just as unprofessional as our attempts. So we can't let our egos get in the way of our creativity. And our egos will do that by comparisonitis, by comparing what we're doing with somebody else. And most of the times what our egos and our minds are comparing against are a professional that's been doing it for many, many, many years, that have written the many stories. They've written their million words. Or the artists that have done the thousands of sketches and paintings to get to what you're seeing and trying to compare yourself at. So when you're doing your creativity, I invite you to just tell your ego and that one that says, oh, you're no good, this isn't any good, this isn't anything that you could sell. Well, so what? Send that, just tell it to go away. Just cut it off. Our egos are a good thing and it's there for a reason. But for this, it will kill your creativity. To allow your brain to tell you, well, that's not good enough. Well, your first attempt isn't. So just tell it to shut up and go away. One of the best things you can do for your creativity is let your censor and your ego and the critic, we all have them, I have them. I've written and published 6 books, and when I go to write the next book, there's still that inner critic that says, this is no good, this is shit. And I know it isn't. My soul knows it isn't, but the inner critic and the ego part of my brain wants to say, well, it's just shit and you can't do it. And it's like, you just have to, I just ignore it, tell it to go away, and do my thing. There are many, many ways to express our creativity. You have the most obvious forms of dance and writing and art and music. You know, when we think of art, creativity, that's what we think of. But our creativity can be in our cooking. You know, I like to say recipes for me are just a jumping off point. They're just to give me inspiration. And I like to create new yummy dishes just by saying, oh, okay, this recipe says this, but ooh, what if I add this and what if I do that? And I like creating my own recipes and doing my own thing. That's a form of creativity, my sister. And if you cook, I'm sure you do the same thing. And just acknowledge and recognize that you are being very creative when you are creating that yummy meal for yourself and for your families and your loved ones. Our creativity can show up in, we'll stick with cooking for a minute, and making cakes and decorating them. Oh, that's an art form. And that's a great way of expressing your creativity, is how you decorate a cake or cookies or anything like that. Even if it's just what color of your icing you're going to do and what colors of sprinkles you're going to put on it. That's a little bit fun and creative. Creativity can show up as loving to work with wood. I have a friend who loves to work with wood, and she's very creative at it. It can be taking pictures. You know, loving taking pictures, and it's not having to do become a photographer and sell them, but you love taking pictures and sharing them with people and just capturing that light as it shines on the leaves on the trees just the right way. That, my sister, is creativity, and a way of expressing your creativity. Getting a coloring book and coloring a picture and doing it in the colors in the way that you like is expressing your creativity. And one of the most important, I feel, and in my opinion, thing that we create is our life. And as Abraham Hicks in the Law of Attraction states, we are creating our life constantly, whether that's consciously or unconsciously. And it's so much better when we create consciously. We're creating our lives every moment by the decisions and the choices that we're making. And some of those decisions and those choices are being made from our egos. They're being made from our fears. They're being made from our limiting beliefs and traumas. When we're creating from that energy and that space, and we're making our choices from that space, our lives usually aren't very good. We might be more in survival mode, and we're just making those split-second decisions and not really thinking them through, and we're just trying to get through the day. Just get through our life and just, I made it through. Go to bed and I made it. That's all you can say about your day. But then, if we're creating from gratitude and joy and love, and if we're thinking about our lives and what would be our most beautiful, amazing life and what that looks like. When we're creating our life like that, then we're creating a beautiful, thriving life. And that doesn't mean to say that some days are just blah. It happens. But when you're creating from gratitude and creating from joy, those days are fewer and fewer and fewer. And I've noticed for myself that as I've done a gratitude practice, that my bad days are getting fewer and fewer, and my good days are getting more and more, and my days are getting better and better and better, and I'm living my truth, and I'm living my authentic self, which doing this is part of my authentic self. And taking this back to creativity, creating a business, my sister, is very creative. It's a way to express yourself and express your passionate purpose. Creating an environment for your family where it's loving and your children can talk to you and speak to you. That's a type of creating. Stay-at-home moms, you're doing a lot of creating. It may not be what we think of most often as creating, but you're creating this beautiful environment for your kids and your spouse and your significant other. And that's valuable. And that's wonderful. So I'm being guided by Saraswati, since we talked about creating your most magical life, to share with you, if you haven't done it with me yet, I have a 30 days of gratitude where we create our most amazing lives from a place of gratitude. And I will put that link to that in the show notes, because that's one of the greatest things we can create. Yes, as women we can create children and families, but our greatest gift to them even is creating joy in ourselves. So I really believe that one of the best things that we can create is a sense of peace and love and joy in our own lives and loving ourselves. And that's part of what the gratitude party will help you do. And I hadn't planned on sharing that, but that's what Goddess Saraswati is talking about, and I listen. So for our sacred practice this week, Saraswati is a muse, and she can help inspire us in our creative activities. If we're stuck in a project, she can help inspire us to get started on it and finish it, whatever that we need. So this week, play and have fun. Do something creative that you haven't done for a while. Let yourself play. Let that inner child in you come out. And what did you think that was fun that you did when you were little? One of the things I remember doing that I really loved was I would do scribble pictures. Don't know what else to call them. I would get a pencil and I would just scribble on the page and just swirl and swoop. And all these really interesting shapes would form. And then I'd get out colored pencils and color it in. I haven't done that for a while, so I think I need to do that tonight because it was really fun and relaxing. And when I was listening to lectures at school, I would be doing these doodle pictures or scribble pictures. So maybe that's something that you might want to try, of just see what comes out and how fun it is. And the whole thing with that exercise is just to have fun, just to play with the colors and the shapes and what comes out. And not directing it at all, and just letting that child play. If you're having trouble getting out of adult mode and letting yourself play, I invite you to take a moment, close your eyes, and connect with Saraswati. And ask her to help you remember how to play and what's fun for you. Because our creativity is supposed to bring us joy and pleasure. It's not something that we have to worry about. Even if you're doing painting for a living, or me writing as a living, as one of the ways that I make a living is I'm a writer, I'm an author, I write fantasy, as well as goddess spirituality and business books. Yes, business and goddess spirituality go together. And for me, when I'm focusing just on writing to make money, it isn't any fun. But when I remember how much I love the play of words and finding the right word to describe what my character's feeling or seeing, when I remember how much fun it is to just let the character and the story reveal itself to me, then I create the most amazing things. But when I'm saying, well, I need to do this to make money, it's shit. Just plain out. It ends up in the cutting room. Because I'm not tapping into my deepest creativity, and that's having fun. So I invite you, if you've lost the joy of your creativity, to re-tap into why you're doing it. Why it's fun for you, what you love and enjoy about it. So when you ask Saraswati to show you, to help you remember to play and what is fun, pay attention after you ask. Because you may find yourself at the store, going down the office supply aisle and reaching for that package of colored pencils or crayons and a pad of paper. Don't question it. That's your nudge from Saraswati as a muse. Buy the pad of paper, buy the crayons, and go have fun. You might find yourself in the kids' aisle with Play-Doh. Going, why am I here? And you see the Play-Doh, pick it up. And remember how much fun it was to play with that Play-Doh when you were a kid. I'm getting chills, so I know somebody needs to hear this. Pick up your flute that you played once upon a time, or your guitar, or sit down at the piano and just play. You know, maybe as a kid you had to play the flute or the saxophone or whatever it was because it was school and you lost your joy for it. Saraswati is inviting you, and I've got tears in my eyes, so I know she's here. That's how I can tell she's here. Somebody needs to hear this. I don't know who. Remember the joy that you felt when you played that instrument. And don't worry how good or bad you are or how many bad notes you play. Just allow yourself to reconnect with that soul calling. The tears are how I know is that physical manifestation for me that the goddess is speaking through me. So whoever this is touching your heart, I'm happy to share this message with you. So my sister, however you express your creativity, however your soul wants to dance and play, I invite you to do that this week. The masterpiece that you're sharing with the world is you, and you, my sister, are amazing and beautiful and wonderful. I truly, truly believe that. So I invite you, if you haven't already, join our Facebook group, our Facebook community group of other sisters. And this is a community that I want that is a sisterhood, where we share in our joys and our wins and support each other in our challenges and our sorrows and support our creativity. So I invite you, join our community group and share with us how Saraswati guided you to play this week and what did you create. I'd love to see it. And maybe I'll be doing that scribble art tonight and sharing that in the group. So my sister, I'm deeply, deeply grateful for you, for being part of my community and joining me tonight, taking the time out of your busy day to watch this video or listen to the podcast. I appreciate it. I really do. Thank you for being part of my community. I really do appreciate it. May you dance with the goddess in love and joy. And have fun this week. I love you. Thank you. Bye.